Hey, what's up? It's Jose with another video. I wanted to actually show you my latest upgrade, which is the turn signal lights on my handlebars. I just recently picked up some cheapo Amazon specials, the LED white running with yellow blinking light, and I swapped them out in about an hour. I figure you'd be interested in checking it out. And if you like everyday Jose's doing very basic low skill mechanical stuff on Harley Sportsters as a first time rider, feel free to subscribe. Thanks. All right, so the first thing that I did was I came over to the fuse. I undid the battery box cover and I found the main fuse, which is this big 40 amp one, and unplugged it. Honestly, not even sure if that's necessary. It's super simple. You literally just pull and it comes right out. Put it off to the side so you don't lose it. Next, get yourself a flathead screwdriver. I put some electrical tape around this one to pop the covers off. They're pretty simple. They're just kind of a press in and pop out. So that's it. Or if you just need to replace it, super easy. You literally push and twist, and then that comes right out. These are the incandescent bulbs that come stock on a Harley. I'm gonna preserve all of the housing so that if I wanted to ever replace them or put them back on, they'll be in good shape and I won't have to buy new ones. There's an Allen key, and I believe this is a 5/32. That goes right here, and ultimately that's what's holding it. There's a set screw right there, and that's what tightens this. So if you're ever riding down the road and you feel like you've already tightened this piece to this as tight as possible, you might actually be dealing with a set screw issue. It really does press onto this material here, so over time it might wear down and break down, and that might be what your issue is. So just a quick little note there that I came across as I was taking this apart. All right, being at that, I want to take this out and I'm not quite sure how else to do it. What I figured out was that on the top of this stem, there's a slightly bigger Allen key size, and it's a 3/16, and you just gotta twist it and turn it, and it comes right off. And this post is what I used to put the new LED light onto it. But because the housing holds the threads, I had to go to the hardware store and pick up a nut. And what I found was it was a 5/16 with a 24 pitch thread, and they fit up nicely onto that stud. So with these little cheapo LEDs, when I bought them on Amazon, they made it look as though it went onto the mirror stem. So like down low, there's a nut that holds this, but if you really wanted to put it on there, you wouldn't get enough of the threads to put a nut onto it. So that's why I went with preserving this piece that comes down, which is the housing component for the stock light. So you might need to go to the hardware store and pick that up. All right, so the product that I went with is this N3 Auto. The material is pretty decent. It's a metal Frinkle black finish with a smoked cover, and then on the back, there's not much to it. Unfortunately, there's a lot to be desired in the weatherproofing, in my opinion here. The wires kind of do protrude. This rubber piece that is supposed to house all the wiring isn't flush to the back. And then it does look like they just give you some really simple wiring here for the running light, the blinker, and the ground, with these little connectors that you have to crimp onto it. So when I was looking at the reviews, they did say that it's pretty much plug and play. You end up just cutting off the ends of the wiring, you insert it, you crimp it down, you put some heat shrink on it, and then you tuck it all away, and that's it, which is actually the case. So I'll show you that. Again, there's a lot to be desired. This box literally just came with the bubble wrap and these in them. No instructions, no additional hardware, no additional wiring components. So I ended up running to the the store and getting a kit of butt splice in various sizes in case I needed to cut these up and use the butt splice. I also got an assortment of heat shrink tubes. I also went and got a black heat shrink tube that will go over the entire wiring setup. And the last thing that I would recommend, if you have access to all of these, good idea to get some pliers in various sizes, some picks and flathead screwdrivers in various sizes, some wire cutters, as well as some pry tools, and then some Allen keys in various sizes. Lastly, some electrical tape just in case. Yeah, that's about it. So again, your experience might vary, but from my experience, these are the things that I used. All right, so to preserve the wiring, there's this little grommet gasket that is nice to have and keep, again, in case you wanted to reuse this wiring in the future. So as you can see there, there's that little plastic piece that's inside that has the spring on it. What I'm trying to do is get this to come out of the plastic piece, and then same with the one on the right. So these are the turn signal and the running light. So I don't want to bust them up too much, and I definitely want to keep all of that together as close as possible. So as you can see, there's a little bit of slack in the wiring now that it's loose. That's going to help get that last little connection out. All right. So the last thing is the ground wire, and unfortunately I couldn't get that effer off earlier without cutting it. So let's see here, it's just a matter of getting as close to that terminal piece and cutting that off, and there's that housing. And it literally comes off. So as I mentioned earlier, there's the 3 wires, the running, the blinker, and the ground. I wanted to keep it as close to the length as possible so that I could reuse it, just snip off just a little bit of the ends here to get the connection onto the new LEDs. You're gonna fit the wire through here, obviously cut it back, crimp it, a heat shrink, and then put your final heat shrink over that. Cut this back on the purple, connect it to the yellow, blue, and white. Have it all wrapped up with one final heat shrink, and that's about it. So I'm gonna time lapse that so you can see how I do that. All right, there it is. I am going to put a little bit of electrical tape around these to keep them nice and tight, and also so that I can put the larger black heat shrink on it. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, there it is. The shrink wrap is on. It's not super tight on this end. I'll probably hit it again with the heat gun in a minute. But for now, I'm gonna let it cool because I've been putting a lot of heat on this. Don't want it to fuck something up. The next thing would be just to place it with the mounting hardware and then reroute the extended portion of the electrical line down and tuck it all Right there, it's mocked up just for test fitting purposes. And I'm gonna actually plug it back in and give it another go. All right, there it is. So installed, put back together. I'll probably do a little bit of adjusting everything with final placement, and yeah, wrap it up. Damn, that really cleaned up the front end of the bike. I think that looks great. Definitely bright and in your face, and I really enjoy how sleek they look. That looks really nice. So that's about it. That'll do it. Here, maybe I'll do the hazard lights so you can see what they look like in action. All right, so that'll do it. Feel free to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you like watching just your average everyday Jose's do basic upgrades and mechanical, I guess, tinkering on motorcycle stuff. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. I really appreciate any sort of feedback and engagement. I enjoy doing this, so it's just for fun. I'm by no means a professional. I don't even pretend to be. So if you have any feedback about maybe things I could have done differently, or other suggestions or things that you think that I should be doing, feel free to leave that in the comments, and yeah, we'll catch you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.